Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. As you can probably hear from my voice, I'm sick. I've got the perfect symptoms for COVID. It may be COVID, it may not be COVID. We won't ever know, because from the amount of time spent trying to contact the authorities on getting tested, well, let's say after a couple of hours, pretty much being expedited with, you're pretty much fine. So, I'll probably be tested if I'm dying or already dead, so fuck that. Today, I'm going to show you guys something really awesome, and that is how to solo a T8 attack level 8 story arc. It's the story arc in question is the Gallente Business Magnate. From the panel here, you could say that it's the second lowest as in difficulty. The easiest one would be Super Soft Drink, but the Business Magnate right here requires a couple of encounters to be completed, some specific encounters to be completed, and the reward is around 65 million ISK, plus a investor supply chest, which can grant you 2 items from this list. They're random, you are not able to pick them like in the supply boxes from the daily rewards. And in total, I'm going to show you guys exactly how much I got, and how I did it, what fits I used, because I used 2 fits, and the strategy, and then I'm basically going to show you guys some footage that I managed to record while doing. So, the Business Magnate has 2 separate encounters. The first encounter consists of 4 waves, and the second encounter also consists of 4 waves. For the first encounter site, you warp in, and you'll get 3 spawns, one after the other, with only standard NPCs up to battle cruiser class ships. Most of them are the battle cruisers are Brutixes and Taluses, and they're pretty much okay. You can easily kite them and tank them and disperse them quickly. The shit starts to really hit the fan once you hit that last wave. The last wave contains like 4 or 5 elites. 2 of them or 3 of them are battle cruiser elites, and those will deal some insane amount of damage. You have to be prepared, and for some of the elites, you have to use a different fit, and I'll show you guys immediately once I get into the fitting area. The second encounter site consists of also I mentioned 4 spawns, 2 standard spawns with normal ships, and the last 2 spawns contain a lot of elites. The third spawn has around 4 elites, and the 4th spawn has 4 to 5 elites. Also, some of them are really nasty, and you'll have to use secondary fit to deal with those. Now, the strategy in soloing this is creating multiple warping points. You have to divide the blobs. The standard spawns can be kited and destroyed easily. You don't need to swap. You could make multiple warp-ins just to try and spread them around a bit, so you can deal with the interdictors and with the interceptors that do have warp disruptor and will warp disrupt you. And if you're unlucky and you get in the middle of them, you can get blown out of the sky pretty quickly, so be careful around those. It's basically the Roman strategy of Divide et Impera. You have to create, as I mentioned, multiple warp-in points, try to pull some NPCs in one direction, then warp in from a different celestial or from a station or whatever. Always warp at 100 kilometers. Make sure that once you start pulling them away and they start dispersing around the battlefield, you don't use the same celestial to perform your warp-in at 100, because you might end up right between them, and you don't want that. You want to pick them off one by one as they approach you, and then if the big guys come near you and you start taking a lot of damage. The tank on one of the fits is really awesome. It can survive, and it allows you to survive as long as possible in order to drop at least 1 or 2 battle cruisers before you need to warp out again and warp in from a different celestial. So you basically just need to warp around and create your own space. Basically, just like in PvP, you need to pick your fights. So once you've done that, and you've managed to divide them into smaller groups, you can start picking them off. And make sure once you kill the last ship from every spawn, you are at a safe distance from the mission beacon. Otherwise, all that spawn is going to be right on top of you, and if there's any interceptor or interdictor that might put a warp scrambler or warp disruptor on you, you're toast. You won't have the time necessary to deal with them and tank the entire spawn. There's no way you can do that, at least not with a cruiser, because that's how I soloed it, with using just a Vexor, a standard Vexor. That's my main ship right now. Let's take a look at the fit. So this is the tank fit that you can use to get rid of most things. The secondary fit is only needed for the most of the nasty elites. The Talos, there's some Taloses, some elite Taloses that will just kite you around 50 kilometers, and if you have no prop, you cannot approach them to apply drones. As you can see, I have a 40-kilometer range drones. If you manage to have a drone range better than mine, I think you're pretty much fine to approach and apply the drones. Another good strategy is drones stay on target. So if you are inside your drone range, just apply the drones and try to get out of the hot zone. You can safely kite them at a bigger distance than what your drone range is. You'll probably have like one drone error out with a message like you're out of drone range and will return. You'll lose like 20% DPS, but that's okay because you'll still be able to get rid of the NPCs from a safe distance. Now the mission in total took me around 4.5, almost 5 hours of playtime over 2 days, because I've been mostly in bed eating chicken soup. What else to do? But given the fact that it was my first attempt during the betas, I did do some of the story arcs, but it was for the Caldari and Minmatar. Did not manage to experiment with the Gallente ones. Given the fact that it was my first attempt, it actually took me some time before I figured out the nicks and kicks on how to do it properly. So in total, I think the amount of time that you need to solo this one out, it could sit around 2 hours of total gameplay, which you actually engage. There's, I mean, you can get rid of it on spawn, and then, I don't know, warp to a station, go drink a coffee, go eat, go whatever, work, if you work from home, and do your stuff, and then just come back and do another spawn, and stuff like that. You know, it's Eve Echoes, it's on your phone, it allows you to do that. So this is the fit, the tank fit, the main fit that I use for this story arc. I've got 2 modified rifled faction medium railguns. You can either swap them for missile launchers. I just used these because I had them. But missile launchers are pretty nice because they don't need tracking, and you can apply damage from even a bigger distance, if I'm not mistaken. For the low slots, I have 1 adaptive armor hardener, which provides basic resistances, flat passive resistances across all resistance types. I've got 1 reactive armor hardener. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, so it's 16% on every one. I've got the reactive armor, which will basically swap resistances in consideration to what kind of damage type you are taking. So you'll be able to maximize your resistance output and tank properly, given the fact that Serpentis NPCs deal only kinetic and thermal damage, so this one will shift and apply full resistances of the pool available to kinetic and thermal. And for active tanking, 2 medium armor shield repairers. They're very good in combination with the 2 medium energy Nosferatus, because you can, as I said, if you manage to break the spawn into some smaller groups, you can actually go inside a smaller group and play with them, and you can actually benefit from that, from these double medium energy Nosferatus to regain a lot of cap and use your twin medium armor reppers. Now, in terms of drone damage, I've got 3 Valkyries, which are medium drone Mark 5, and I've got 2 infiltrators to deal with the shield. You could also swap for 5 hammerheads, or just have, because you're fighting Serpentis, it's Gallente and they're armor tanked, or you can just have just plain 5 Mark 5 Valkyries. My drone DPS is not that great right now. I only have like 180 because I took every drone damage amplifier down, just because I wanted to be more tanky, and it may take you some more time to apply damage and get rid of ships, but it's worth it. If you apply the drone damage amplifier and you take just one of these resistance modules, you'll take a lot more damage that you can actually repair. Also, just one repper is not enough unless you have like advanced armor operation in 5 or 4. I don't have that yet, so you need to repair more, and that's why I have the rigs. I've got 1 auxiliary nano pump, which basically adds up to the amount of armor repped HP, and I've got 1 drone control enhancer just to give me some more 3 kilometers on the drone control range to get that to that 40 kilometer range, because you really need that. If you go too close to the elites, they will break you in ways you cannot even possibly imagine. One of the elites, those nasty ones that we have the secondary fit for, starts deploying damage to you from around 80 kilometer mark. So be careful. Try to approach at an angle, because they're shooting rail guns, and it's battleship sized guns, so you'll get shitload of damage applied, so be careful around those. For the mechanical rigs, I've got 1 semiconductor memory just to help with the cap, and with another capacitor control circuit just to help again with the cap. Why? Because the elites will either apply energy Nosferatu on you, or just right off the bat energy neutralizer, which just kills your capacitor. So the only way to survive between them inside a smaller group and be able to get rid of them is to actually have, as I mentioned, these medium energy Nosferatus. Otherwise, your capacitor will go blank in around 5 seconds. I'm stable with 2 of these. I'm not stable when I'm being drained or neutered by the enemy NPC, so be careful. Another tactic, whenever you try to create another warping point, if it's an initial spawn, or if the spawn just started, try to wait out at around 100 kilometers and wait for the interdictors and interceptors to come into range. You can basically just sit idle and wait for them to come and block them out of the sky, because those are nasty and you don't want to get caught by them while trying to deal with the mass of ships that every spawn contains. So that's pretty much it on the tank fit. The secondary fit involves removing 1 repper to fit a Mark 5 medium afterburner. So you fit that. Why? Because, as I mentioned, the most nastiest of the elites is a Talos. You will get that in the first encounter site in the last spawn, the fourth spawn, it will be present and it will kite you. So you need to get into that drone range of yours just to put the drones, and then you need to get the fuck out because he'll apply a lot of damage. So even with the tank fit, I was not able to basically tank him properly. And because he actually keeps at range, you're unable to use the medium energy Nosferatus to regain that capacitor. So having a medium afterburner just to get in range, apply drones, and evacuate the dance floor, wait from a distance, try to kite around 70 kilometers just to avoid any damage or any damage spike that he may be applying, because he tends to do that. So that's the secondary fit. That's pretty much it on how to fit the double fit that I used to solo this mission. No damage mods. I was actually more keen on having the ship survive. And let's take a look at the actual rewards. We got in the... I just put these in another ship because I'm probably gonna take them for sale or whatever, maybe use them. I have around 70 million ISK worth of modules. Some of them I actually fitted on my Vexor. So it varies. You can gain drone damage amplifiers. These are not drone damage amplifiers, they're omnidirectional tracking links. So they're pretty poop. But this one is actually worth quite good. The medium micro warp drive. And of course the large railguns that you can use once the battle cruisers appear. You can keep this if you're flying Gallente and put them on a Talos and start doing crazy snipey things. You know what I mean. Sorry again for my voice and for my nose. I sound pretty much horrible. So be sure to like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here on the channel, and remember, if you wish to support my work and help keep this channel alive, there's a YouTube channel membership, basically a donation system, and you can help me by donating for a monthly pledge of a sum as small as $2. So thank you very much for that. That's pretty much it on how to do it. Remember, divide et impera. Split them apart and create multiple warp-in points, and basically in 4 hours or less, depends on your skills, you'll pretty much be done with this story arc. It is doable as a solo player. Another variant of this would be to have a caracal. I'm not sure how, I didn't manage to find any guides, but I'm sure the caracal can perform the same things. The only difference is that the drones, how the drones work. Once you apply the drones, and you can gain range, additional range, and the drones maintain or stay on target. They're way better than the missile range, which are probably going to be, I don't know, capped at around 80 kilometers, I don't know. And if you're not able to tank, you may have to warp out several times. Plus, I did find an interesting mechanic. If I remember in the betas, if you manage to get 100 kilometers away from the actual spawn point, then all the NPCs would de-aggress, and you'll lose aggro, and you might as well just sit there and pick them off one by one while no one was shooting you. Well, they modified it because it was pretty bad, so they added a range from the beacon, which is a bubble around, you could call it the grid, the aggro grid. It's 250 kilometers, so while you're inside the 250 kilometers grid around the site beacon, the NPCs will aggress you. If you exit that by just 1 meter, all the NPCs will lose target on you, and they'll start turning around and about, going into the spawn point, which is the site beacon. Now, a good strategy if you want to do it is to get range at 250 and try to gather as many NPCs as possible towards you, and just exit that 250 kilometers range, have the NPCs de-aggress, apply the drones, and try to move in and out, just so you can keep them near you while completely avoiding damage. That could be an exploit, but it's not actually an exploit, it's using the game mechanics. So if the NPCs are scripted to aggress you at 250 kilometers inside the grid, the mission grid, I think you're pretty much fine to trick them. So that's pretty much it on how to do this mission. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video, which is basically my experience and how I dealt with the Business Magnate story arc. So thank you guys for watching. A very big shout out to my channel supporters. I invite you guys to watch the rest of the video and basically see how it's done. Cheers!